Anna's story is a really good story for people who want to learn English. The language level starts at intermediate. With each episode, there is more vocabulary and grammar, so your English will get better and better.
Do you remember the last episode? Marta had stolen Mr. Henderson's watch. Andras gave it back to Mr. Henderson, and Andras took Anna back to the flat on his motorbike. Anna's Story, Episode 7, Anna and Andras. Anna and Andras rode back to the flat on the motorbike. She was smiling all the way. It was raining and Anna was very wet when they arrived back, but she didn't care. She didn't even notice because she was so excited. In the flat, Andras asked Anna if she wanted to have a small glass of vodka to celebrate a happy ending. Anna was a little surprised that he seemed to have completely forgotten Marta, but Andras said it was also a happy ending for him, because he didn't want a thief for a girlfriend. It was a lucky escape for him, he said. Yes, Anna could understand that. Anna was annoyed with herself. Finally, she could speak in Hungarian, say what she wanted to say in the way she wanted to say it. She could be clever, funny, and interesting. But she was so nervous she couldn't think of anything to say. So she said, yes, and repeated, a lucky escape. How funny, clever, and interesting was that? He poured 2 quite large vodkas and sat next to her on the sofa, quite close. Anna felt more nervous. She moved away from him and drank her vodka, slowly. It was the first time she had drunk vodka, and she didn't like it. Too strong, it burned her throat. But then she felt warm and more relaxed. But then she knew how strong vodka was and what bad things it could do to people. She had seen her grandfather, he's now dead, after 4 or 5 vodkas, and he was so boring, telling her stories of the war which he had told her so many times. How Fabian had crashed the tank. Probably he had drunk too many vodkas. How Gabor had fallen in the river. Too many vodkas. How they had eaten rat. And so on and so on. And she had seen her grandmother after just 2 or 3 vodkas. She was embarrassing. First she said ridiculous things like, "Can you take me home?" when she was already home. Or, "There's a fish banging on the window." What? Then there was the neighbour, Janos. She didn't know how many vodkas he drank, but it was a lot. He shouted and threw tables and chairs and sometimes hit his wife. That was terrible. Anna knew because the next day she had black eyes or a fat lip. So, Anna had to be careful, and when Andras gave her another vodka and moved closer to her on the sofa, she got up quickly and said, "I think I'd like a cup of tea." She couldn't believe she said that. Another cup of tea. She was starting to be like an English person. "Would you like a cup of tea, Andras?" But Andras was already drinking his 4th vodka. He definitely didn't want tea. He asked her to sit down again and they could talk. Anna thought about it, then decided to sit down on a different chair. Andras started talking about himself, and more about himself, and even more about himself. He talked about his school days, how clever he was, how he won prizes for maths, physics, chemistry, English, art. What didn't he win prizes for, Anna wondered. How he was the captain of the football and the basketball team. How he couldn't be a professional footballer because he had a bad leg from an accident when he was rescuing an old lady from a burning house. How he couldn't go to university because he needed to work because his father had left his mother when he was 3 years old. Anna thought that was sad, but she couldn't tell him she thought that was sad because he didn't stop talking. Then he started telling her about how much he loved Marta, how long her legs were, and the happy times they had had together, and what he was going to do now, and how was he going to pay the rent, and would Anna like to move into his bedroom? How nice that would be for both Anna and Andras. How beautiful Anna was. And stop, said Anna, quite loudly, maybe even shouting. Not normal for Anna. You are beginning to be boring. You have drunk too much vodka. I don't want to hear about how much you love Marta. I definitely do not want to move into your bedroom to help you pay your rent. I am not beautiful. Maybe pretty, but not beautiful. I am not going to drink any more vodka, and I'm going to make a cup of tea. Would you like one? Anna didn't wait for an answer. She went into the kitchen to make the tea and decide what to do next. But Andras followed her in, closed the door, and looked at her angrily. Oh no, this is another bad situation, thought Anna. What do I do now? Well, I could kick him and run away, as I did with Pavel. That was successful. But then Andras sat on a chair and started crying. Oh, this is ridiculous, she thought. I am not going to be nice to him. I just want to go to my own bed in my own room and forget about him. Yes, he is handsome, but he is ridiculous, and I will never drink vodka again. So she left Andras crying in the kitchen and went to bed in her own room. But before she did, she took the bottle of vodka and poured it down the toilet, and, because she was nice, she made Andras a cup of tea and put it next to his head, which was in his hands on the table. He was half asleep, but still crying and blubbering. Marta, Marta, how can I pay my rent? What am I going to do now? Where are you? Come back, I need you. And so on and so on. So, that was the end of the Anna and Andras dream. That's okay, Anna thought, as she lay in bed. I will never learn English if I am with Andras, because we will speak Hungarian together. And I definitely don't want to listen to any more stories about how wonderful he is. Perhaps I don't need a boyfriend at the moment, just some good friends. There are more important things I have to do now if I am going to become successful in England. Tomorrow, I'm going to join an English class. Then I can make new friends and learn English. And after that very, very long day, Anna went to sleep, happy again.
Thank you for watching Anna's story. To find regularly updated episodes, please visit our YouTube account and our Facebook page, Anna's Story.